Before we begin these recaps, The Tattooist of Auschwitz is based on a true story. It's a harrowing, hard-hitting drama about the Holocaust, and it obviously references one of the worst periods in human history. With that in mind, we will not be including any memes, silly anecdotes, or cutaways as part of our coverage of this show. We will not disrespect the honour of those who passed away and those who survived and had to endure the horrors of World War II. Thank you. Episode 1 of The Tattooist of Auschwitz begins in Melbourne, 2003. An old man shuffles around his apartment, memories of the past flickering in like a bad dream. These memories happen to be of his time within the Holocaust camps, and the man in question is Lali Sokolov. He's a survivor of the Holocaust, and this horrific nightmare is hard to shake as he turns to see a figure before him, dressed in striped pyjamas and smiling sadly. As tears well up in his eyes, memories of a man, Lali himself, being led to the gas chambers filters in, past the women and children, and a woman whom we later find out is important to the story, but not just yet. Back in 2003, Lali Sokolov has hired a woman called Heather to write his life story. She's immediately questioned by Lali, who learns that she's not Jewish. "I don't have long," Lali says, referencing his time left on the planet. Heather laughs awkwardly as they settle in and prepare for what's to follow. And this story, as we soon find out, is a love story. Surprisingly, it begins in Slovakia, 1942. Out in the streets with a local girl, Lali watches as a couple of soldiers beat a kid in the street. This is part of the new restrictions in place against Jews, the place he calls home, which is slowly becoming a twisted, xenophobic shadow of its former self. Along with losing their jobs and having to wear stars, the Jews are beaten in the streets for missing curfews. Lali's girlfriend is one of the casualties here, and she unfortunately doesn't show up when she's scheduled to. Lali is left on his own, contemplating what could have been. Things start to tighten up too, with the Slovakian government demanding that one person from each Jewish household register for work duty. Lali undercuts his older brother and decides he should go, given he doesn't have a family or prospects. He makes up an excuse, saying he's been getting soft while living in the city, and this is a good opportunity for him. However, they're certainly not disillusioned over what this work duty is. It's bad news. Rumours have been swirling, but Lali doesn't disclose what these are to his family, as they resign to the fact that Lali is leaving and protecting the family by doing so too. In the present, an old Lali wishes he could go back to this moment and rewrite history, but we do hear him make a promise to his ma. He promises to find love. Before he gets on the train, one of the officers, Boris, shows up and quizzes what Lali is doing. He knows exactly what's going to happen here, and his expression narrows when he finds out. Fear in his eyes, he implores Lali to run. Lali doesn't, of course, and instead all these Jewish men and women are forced into cramped conditions, packed into the carriages like sardines. When the train eventually stops after what seems like forever, Lali is concerned. All of these suitcases and belongings are just pushed on the side as they're herded into the work camp. On the iron gates overhead, the words "Arbeit matched Prey" can be seen. This roughly translates to "work makes one free," and given these guys are in Auschwitz, that's a pretty disgusting bit of foreshadowing. The men and women are separated, with the men forced to strip down. Lali steps forward to save the life of a kid in front who hesitates, and after being tattooed with his number, they're loaded onto trucks and taken away from the processing plant. At the camps, the men are all squeezed into their tight bunks, but Lali can't sleep. Instead, he heads out at night and watches as 3 of the Jewish men, sitting on a bench, are shot dead by an SS officer passing by. The officer has no remorse or second thought over what he's doing. But remember this guy, this is Stefan Boretsky, and as we see across the season, he'll become an important part of Lali's story. Anyway, Lali remembers the morning drill, including being forced to remove their caps and work flat out, back-breaking manual labour. The thing is, they're basically making their own camp, a huge, sprawling settlement for all the Jewish men and women to come to work and to die. While up on the rooftop, helping out a contracted builder, Lali watches as truck after truck full of dead bodies are taken out into the distance. The smell is overbearing, and Lali realises what this is now, given they can't burn the bodies fast enough. According to the words of the builder anyway, Lali vomits off the side of the building as his stomach turns. Illness, though, is a death sentence here, and thankfully, some of the men manage to cause a distraction and help Lali as he's taken into the bunks and allowed to sleep, away from the prying eyes of the guards. It seems to do the trick, and he manages to get better. The tattooist from earlier, Pepan, shows and offers Lali a chance to survive this place, specifically to help him tattoo other prisoners, given there will be more incoming in the future. Although he initially says no, given it's survival of the fittest and he sees firsthand the horrors of Auschwitz, he decides to take the job. Lali is taken away from the main camp and into far better conditioned quarters. I mean, it's not ideal, but given he's working for the SS now, he's going to need all the protection he can get. Guess who his commanding officer is? Yep, it's Stefan Boretsky. It doesn't take long before Lali is forced into tattooing other inmates, and the reward is that he gets a decent amount of food. Pepin looks out for him, and Lali heads back to his old barracks from time to time, giving his old friends whatever food he can. Unfortunately, Aaron, the boy whom Lali saved before by cutting a head in the tattooing line, is taken away that afternoon, specifically to the gas chamber. Although Lali initially claims to Heather that he doesn't remember why, the fact is they took Aaron instead of Lali because Lali took his number at processing. Lali has basically gaslit himself into believing he doesn't remember the reason why, and he is overcome with guilt. Remember the scene from the opening of the episode? Well, we return here now as Lali is taken down to the chambers by Stefan to check the tattoos of inmates that have been killed. He's the one who gave them the tattoos in the first place. Lali checks over the numbers, a 3 and an 8, reporting this to Stefan before walking out. On the way, the officer laughs at him, claiming that he's the only Jewish man that's walked into the gas chambers and walked back out and lived to tell the tale. Lali's promise to his mum though seems to come to fruition, given he ends up meeting a fateful character that will become a figurehead with the series as we proceed. This woman, Gita, sits down while Lali's tattooing and looks him deep in the eye. There's definitely chemistry here, and Lali is taken aback by her surprising humour, a bright spark in what's otherwise a very dour and horrific experience. And that is how episode 1 comes to an end. Thanks for watching, and do let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash a like or subscribe to the channel, your support is very much appreciated. I'm Greg Wheeler, and from all of us over here at The Review Geek, we'll see you on the next video.